Wonderful. Flagstaff City Coconino County Library Board. And we're going to go ahead and start our meeting with our roll call.
Frank.
I'm here.
Lisa. Here. Councilmember Garcia. Not present. Supervisor Begay. Pamela.
Here.
Shannon. Catherine. Here. Katie.
Here.
Thank you.
Perfect. And do we have anybody for public participation today? Okay. Then we'll move on to the approval of minutes, which is part of your packet if you scroll down a little bit if you're online. And these were the minutes for the March 27th meeting. As soon as everybody's ready, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
Probably be helpful if someone who was there motions.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm not making that. I wasn't present.
I move that
I could.
Okay, we have a motion to accept. Do I have a second?
I can second it.
Thank you. All right, and all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All
Aye.
those opposed by same sign. All right, ayes have it, and we will move on to information, communications, and disclosures from the board. Okay.
I think the only informational thing that was not in my report that I would talk about is that Amelia and I, and also Frank, went to the United Way luncheon, and it looks like their major focus this year is literacy.
Ooh.
And they had quite a few interesting statistics about, and sobering statistics about literacy and third grade reading achievement, which is not great in Arizona. So just some good things also for us to know about from our perspective. Certainly a role that we're trying to fill and help the schools and everyone else who's working on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a good meeting. There was another one this morning, and I can't remember the group that put it on, that was also geared around early childhood and the statistics that go along with that in Flagstaff. So I feel like there's really kind of a community movement in that direction, and I think some of it is stemming from the lack of childcare, and not only the lack of, but the expense of childcare in our community. So I think that those things are starting to galvanize themselves into sort of a Flagstaff movement kind of thing. All right. And then Linda, you're the first thing on the reports.
Okay. I'll just highlight a few items out of my report. On the second page, I just wanted to talk about the second Let's Decorate the Plaza that was done. And this time we had people make God size to put on that display space out on the plaza. So we're starting to use it for display space, which was what was always intended. So it's just nice to see that happening.
What is the name of the thing you said that they made?
They made God size.
Not familiar with that. Here's a picture of it. I'm trying to look on my
Like
phone.
yarn.
Oh, those are so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Do you still operate?
They might still be up.
There it is.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Ojos de Dios. It's a traditional Mexican
Oh,
craft.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna tackle that. Thank you for tackling it. My son always comments on how bad my accent is on what little Spanish I know. So that was pretty cool. on the following page, the third page, it was amazing to me and exciting that in 1 month, we checked out 87 culture passes. Those are very popular. I'm sure some of those since adding Lowell Observatory, but I think a lot of them get checked out. So that's just going really well. Move down to the seed swap at East Flagstaff. They had a great turnout, over 100 people. And so there is seed exchanging, but also just information for people about watering, planting, composting, all things to do with growing. So that was great that there was a wonderful turnout for that. And then on the next page, page 4, the update on the library structure and funding study is that we do have a report from the consultant, and the steering committee has reviewed the full report, and now it has been sent on to the city and county leadership level. And this is the group that originally met with the consultant. So they're going to have a look at it and at the findings and recommendations and have a discussion, and we'll see if there are any edits that need to be made to the report, but that's where that is. So it's taken a little bit of time, but there has been a lot of study of what other county free library districts are doing, how they're set up, and also just a lot of discussions with different groups.
Can you share that with us when it's finished?
Yeah, I don't know that there's any reason we can't. Absolutely.
Sounds like it.
Citizens, absolutely.
Shannon he didn't have a question. All right, so that's where that is. And then under county libraries, you can see in your report that Forest Lakes has a new cool looking spinning bookshelf that was designed by a local community member. So the direction they went, instead of ordering something online, was to work with a local community member. And so that is kind of cool. I think that we have something that was built by someone there. And that's significant if you have not been, which I think many people have not. It's a very tiny space, so that's a very significant addition.
Wow.
And very cool. And then just wanted to mention that the Grand Canyon Community Library has done a lot of shifting and shelving. Damaris has been up there hefting books with our new French manager up there, Amy Zink. And they did a lot of straightening out, making the shelves more intuitive and just in a better order for patrons to access. So those were the main things I wanted to highlight, and I'm open to any questions or comments or anything else.
I was at the Northern Arizona Book Festival tabling, and I really was selling the passes. So we had people come up, and one person came up with her father was a student. And I told him they could get the loan. And then he turned to her and he goes, and we just spent. So I'm sure that student, she said, I'm gonna go get a card, and then when her parents come back, they can use it. So that word of mouth really means a lot.
Good story. Well, also, Councilmember Garcia mentioned them in the council meeting. So that all the people who watch the council meetings, I think now, and he specifically referenced the Lowell pass, that he was real excited about that. So yeah, those things all matter and help.
How many of those passes are there?
Altogether, I'm not sure how many we have.
That's a good number. This is 2 each.
Well, just a couple for Lowell, right?
Yeah.
2 sets of passes here for Lowell, 2 sets of 2 tickets if you're just asking for Lowell.
But as far
all
as
cultural
others,
passes.
yeah, there's a lot. I mean, Desert Botanical Garden down in Phoenix.
Yeah. I've used that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
102, maybe? That's everything that comes up when you search cultural pass, so I'd have to go to the end to see if any of those are non-cultural. I know, so several of those, several of those.
Curious
are-
as to, you know,
roughly, that's all.
Who,
I like, books more like 16.
it's a statewide program. There's a
16
group
venues,
who
but
wants
16
to
venues,
provide
but multiple passes to each.
cultural access for people who may or not otherwise be able to afford it. And I can't remember the name of the group. It's not Last Call, Act One. Yeah, Last Call, Act One, something like that. Act One. So yeah, they actually approach places to ask. I mean, they will take suggestions from us also, but they're the ones who really work with the different institutions to make that happen. Really cool program.
Great idea, I love that.
If community members want information about those passes, do they just ask at the front desk or do they go to the reference desk or?
They actually are housed near the reference desk.
Okay.
But yeah, they can ask anybody, and you can look them up as Amelia just did online
Okay.
to see what we have.
Any other questions? Has Nathaniel started?
Not yet.
Oh, yeah.
May
So I'll
12th.
link it to us, like,
Not yet.
where is it?
May 12th.
He was ready to come up earlier, but we just couldn't get it all done for him to be here until May 12th. If I
Oh,
am
yeah.
ready to go.
Looks like it'll be a good
It's
addition.
in the report, yeah.
Okay. And then we have the volunteer program with Felicia.
Felicia's joining us online. There she is.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, everyone can see that, right?
Yes, I just realized you can't see us nodding.
Yes. I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and minimize that. All right, hello. So I'm going to be presenting on volunteering at the library. My name is Felicia Fiedler. So just a little bit information about me. I've been working at the library since 2014. I started as a library page, then to a circulation clerk, a library specialist, and to the librarian position that I am today as the training and volunteer librarian. I've been in that position for 3 years. For volunteers relations in particular, I have volunteered for other organizations since 2012 and coordinated volunteers in different capacities for the last 10 years. I have my master's degree in library and information sciences, so just kind of where I'm coming from, my background, how long I've been doing this, and my information here if there's any follow-up questions after this. So just some volunteering stats to start off with. So last year we had 1,177 service hours done by all our volunteers. We had a total of 53 volunteers. That would include our teens over the summer for the June and July months. Then we also had 70 applications, more than that, that were received and processed. So I have to process each application, see if it is eligible for one of the positions, as well as follow up with each one to tell them what the status of their application is, and ask them follow-up questions of like, are you able to commit to a year, which is part of our volunteering process. So there's also 178 computer tutoring sessions that was completed last year. That's one of our biggest volunteering sections you'll see here for our stats for this year. Usually we receive about an average of 6 applications a month, and we've received 23 applications thus far in this year. We have currently 32 volunteers. As you can see here, the computer tutors we have the most of. We have 12 of them. And then we have 10 that work with collection support and tidying, 6 program assistants, and 4 teen volunteers. So our teen volunteer program mostly happens during the summer, except for over at the East Library location, where we accept teen volunteers year-round. There is less restrictions with teen volunteers because we do not need a fingerprint process since they are under the age of 18. Let's see, to give you some ideas of what computer tutors do, as one of the top positions, they help with one-on-one assistance for like 2 hours, 30-minute sessions with patrons that can sign up for something that they might need help with. It's usually introductory software, social media, or their computer, ebooks, e-audiobooks, as well as like applying for jobs. So they help in those 30-minute sessions with the patron that signed up. For the collection support, that's looking like straightening up our shelves. We have like a Pals Mobile shelver that helps shelve the books on the Pals Mobile to help keep that coordinated. Tidying up the shelves as well, making them look nice, as well as dusting them down, as well as like with tidying volunteers. Just going around the library and fixing things as well. So we have some volunteers that will help with like weeding as like a part of the collection support as well. The program assistants are helping with the program, so like program prep, setting up the room, taking down the room once the program's over, as well as like with our Crafty Corner program, cutting out some of the like crafts, helping that be prepared. So various stuff with the program assistants. For the recruitment process, so we start by assessing what the library's needs by asking different library departments what they might need help with. So like the program assistant, is there any staff that needs additional help with their programs right now? So we have the senior VR program. So I'll go ahead and ask our current volunteer, and usually our computer one if it's a tech related program. So we've had one of our tech computer volunteers go and help with that program. And like, okay, with the computer tutoring, we don't have anyone for Fridays right now. So that's something that's like open. That's what I'd be looking to fill. So kind of assessing our needs. There is posting specific positions if there is a high need. Like with our volunteer match where we post a lot of our positions, if there is a high need, it's like it has the computer tutoring volunteer as well as like a sign engine policy translator, but it's not going to have something like the tithing volunteer because it's not a high need position. But we review our current applications if it's something that can be filled by a current volunteer, because there's some volunteers that are like, hey, I'll start doing this, but if there is a need for like program assistance, for example, then they'd be willing to help with that as well. So kind of reaching out to volunteers that we currently have. The applications are always open, but not always something that would be of interest to the applicant. So they will fill out a volunteer application, and then I will go ahead and review it and see if they checked off any of the boxes that meet our current positions. Either way, they would still receive a call back from me to let them know like, hey, there was nothing that we have open that you'd be interested in. And then I'll provide secondary sources that might be more in line with what they're interested in based off of the application, such as like I would like to read to children. That's not something we have available as a position, but like the literacy center would be a perfect like recommendation for them. For where our application can be found on our website, on the bottom of it, you can see here I have a little get involved, and then it's underneath volunteering at the bottom. And then we have the city's volunteer portal, and then the volunteer match that I was mentioning. So having specific positions posted there. Advertisement can also be done at special events. So like at that seed swap that Linda had mentioned, advertising for a seed steward position. Volunteers are also screened through by asking follow-up questions, contacting references, and screening through prior library incidents. So the training and onboarding process would be next. So onboarding can usually take about a month between me following up calls with the volunteer if I didn't get an answer when I gave them their first call to ask some questions. It can be contacting references where the reference doesn't answer. And having to wait a few weeks for that. It could be the fingerprinting process, because that process can be a little confusing sometimes. You have to follow the document exactly. And then the orientation part of it. So planning a time that works for both of us to have them come in person. So all the volunteers except for teens go through the fingerprint process. If they have like a fingerprint card, it helps with that process. And once they are done being fingerprinted, we plan our orientation. We go to the library location they're going to be performing their hours. And usually it takes 30 minutes or less to go over library policy and expectations. For the computer tutor volunteers, we also give them a guide to review, to practice, getting familiar with like the library's website and resources, like some of those common questions that they'll receive to better prepare them for their one-on-one sessions. And then a schedule is created. They will work with their site supervisor for any needed adjustments, while also continuing to communicate with me for any updates. Onto the appreciation part of volunteers. So every year we send a thank you holiday card, thanking them for their service here at the library. We've also done a few other things as well, so like a tea party and some gift cards. So we were able to raffle off some Volunteer Appreciation Day gift cards to all our current volunteers, to different organizations in town, as well as like this year with the holiday cards, we were able to send like a $5 holiday gift card for thanking them as well. So it was really nice that we were able to do that with our friends and our foundation group. So as well, a different type of appreciation. So in the application, we always ask each potential volunteer why they're interested in volunteering at the library. And so I wanted to share some of those comments that we receive. So I also just love going to the library. It was genuinely my favorite place to hang out as a kid. I believe libraries are for everyone. I truly believe that everyone can find something to read that is interesting. I've always loved the Flagstaff Public Library, specifically the downtown branch. I got the card the first 3 months I've lived in Flagstaff. Volunteering at this establishment will help make libraries more accessible to everyone, and I would love to be a part of that. I liked the library and want to support it. And then this really big one, I'm really appreciative of all the resources and safe spaces provided by Flagstaff Public Libraries. After having moved back to the Flagstaff last year, the downtown branch of the library has become one of the most frequent places in the city. I've always been passionate about libraries as a patron. I've continued to encourage friends and family to utilize resources available there and to support however they can. As a child, I spent most afternoons after school at my local library and was always grateful for the space and for the assistance of librarians and other staff. So these are like part of what I get to experience with every volunteer application, is like why they're interested and why they appreciate the library. So I wanted to share a piece of that with you all. But that is basically volunteering. So if there's any other questions, do let me know. But thank you all.
Any questions from anyone in the group?
Is the process to be a volunteer at the branch libraries, is it pretty much the same as here?
Yeah, it's identical. I'm in charge of both locations for volunteering. So they submit the same application. They can choose which location they're interested if they're interested in both locations.
How about the county?
What about the county?
Same.
They still have to be fingerprinted and fill out the same application. We just don't have but one.
Volunteer?
We have one volunteer to the city
Okay.
and nowhere else right now, so.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Felicia, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Have
next
fun.
time. Thank you, Felicia.
Great job. All right. Moving on to the next item, which is action items. It doesn't appear that we have any. And then as far as information and requests from board members, do we have any? I have one question, but I'll open it up to everybody else.
I have one question. My question, I guess is for Linda, like, is the library being affected by the executive order that Trump wrote,
The
with the
potential,
libraries and all that.
the potential effects on the library are, I mean, certainly eliminating IMLS, Institute of Museum and Library Services, would have impacts on us. And the other thing for us really is the LSTA grant funding, that's Library Services and Technology Act. That's certainly at risk of being eliminated. Right now, we're using it for our online materials.
About a third of our material cost is
Yes.
budget through that.
So, I mean, the one thing, from a positive look at this though, is that so much of our funding is local. However, there's also trickle down. If you think about it, if the county is very dependent on grants, which I think they are for many of their programs, and they also partially fund the libraries, there could be effect that way. So.
That was very similar to my question, but I'll piggyback off it. Has there been any effects to the actual materials in the library or the programs we offer based on any of the things that are going on
Do you mean funding wise or otherwise?
otherwise?
Mhm. I don't know, we haven't had more requests for reconsideration or anything like that. No.
I was gonna ask related to what I just said too, I mean, were there any mandates that affected DEI, since that seems to be being targeted, has that affected the library in any way?
No.
That we've seen.
Any other questions from the group? Okay. We have the agenda for future meetings, which always includes Linda's director's report. The next meeting, we will have the county branches update, which is also.
We're actually gonna be moving that, sorry.
Okay.
I learned after sending it out.
I'm out on the bookmobile. I go,
Oh,
I
okay.
go out on the bookmobile and stay all night, 2 nights with Becca,
Oh,
because we
cool.
don't want her out by herself.
That's a good idea. So it'll be ILL, interlibrary loan.
Okay.
I believe. I need to verify
You'll
with
update
her
us
that,
before the meeting.
that she can do it. But
We'll
yeah.
show up. Yes, that's great. Thank you for letting us know that. And thank you for traveling with the bookmobile, that's important.
It's a rough job, but somebody's got to do it. Abby's going out in June with her. Because I'll be out of town, but.
All right, and then our next meeting date is May 22nd of 2025, and Amelia will let us know what our topic is going to be as far as covering, and we will go from there. Anybody else have any business for the good of the order?
Yes, this is Supervisor Begay. I just wanted to let you know that the bookmobile came to our attention at the board meeting this past week. And also, it was kind of, it was something that I feel that I have basically said, whatever will work for you guys. We don't want to cut your services short or, deny any services of any type because, we're approving just this one. So I think the board said, just take it back and I guess we're just looking for a recommendation. So there were like that, two of the bookmobiles plus there was a bus sitting on that one page, but I just want to tell you that, whatever you guys decide on as a group, what best benefit, your services out there, what the type of roads that you have, or the distance and anything that you could make that determination. So I just want to make sure that that is being dealt with by your group there and also the staff. And yes, certainly, there are going to be budget cuts because of uncertainty. We don't know where, but we're waiting. Are we going to be having budget meetings starting May 5th, all the way till the 2 weeks, 10 days? We're going to do budget meetings with each one of the departments. So I guess at one point in time, all the departments have to give and take, so that we all continue to provide the services as we're doing right now. So I just want to bring those two topics to to the board here. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Begay, are those budget meetings open to the public?
Just staff. Just staff for now. They're just coming in one day at a time. We have like four of them, 4 or 5 of them that come in one day, or 6 or whatever, the schedule. So the board, usually it's a little area that they have, so it's usually just staff. But if whatever comes later, like the bookmobile, that comes through the board meeting itself.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you. Anything else? Okay, hearing nothing, have a great rest of April and beginning of May, and we will see everybody on May 22nd, and we will adjourn the meeting.
I should talk about getting a new book.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we talked about what the options were with them
Oh, okay.
this week.